Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasthajanakalyane niratam karunamayam namami chinmayam devam sadgurum brahmavidvaram. In this chapter, which we started last time, chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita, we began the discussion with why devotion. We understood that devotion is different from the path of action, karma yoga. For the purpose of action is to purify the mind, while path of devotion is for developing love for the Lord. And the qualification that is required for karma yoga is the eagerness to move from rajas to sattva, whereas in the devotion it is intensifying the quality of sattva. The method that is given, prescribed to us for karma yoga is to engage in the kartavya karma or duties of life with no attachment to result, wherein in path of devotion it is a constant contemplation upon the Lord. The result of karma yoga is disengaging from anxieties and strong likes and dislikes from the work. And in path of devotion, it is emulating the qualities of the Lord and becoming compassionate to all. Also, we saw a question raised by Arjun, whether the worship or the path of love should be worshipping a God in a particular form or without a form. We discussed on the Upanishadic statements which talk about the formless absolute nature of the Lord, and the Upanishads do not talk about any particular form for worship. But on the other hand, Arjun was shown by Lord Krishna the cosmic form, Ishwaraha, Vishwarupaha, who envelops everything, the entire creation. And so he was confused which is better, for he being the student of Upanishad, he thought that the best way to go about is to contemplate upon the abstract, while he also witnessed the cosmic presence. So now another thing is that all various religions known to the world, all of them have some symbolism or the other. The question is whether worshipping a particular symbol representing God, does it make a seeker a fanatic, narrow-minded? And Gurudev also beautifully said, can the ocean be fully realized through the knowledge of the waves, or will the knowledge of the waves obstruct our comprehension of the ocean? So here then we saw, when this was asked to Krishna, which is better, Krishna answered not directly but indirectly, and he said, more than who is worshipping, more than what is worshipped, who is worshipping is important. He gave three important characteristics of a devotee required for such a devotee to proceed further. First one is the focus, that is effortless flow of thoughts towards God, and then fortitude, that is consistent engagement, and faith, which is in existence of the God. One must have a total faith, and then trust in the teacher or the guidance, and dedication on the path. Also, when an individual is eager to take up to contemplation as prescribed by the Upanishads, there are various pointers that we have to keep in mind. If you want to contemplate upon the formless God, you should recognize that God is beginningless, endless. There is no limitation, and therefore limited means of knowledge cannot be used. And the experience of God is not external, it is internal. And for such a contemplation, consistency in meditation or in thinking about the formless nature of the Lord, one needs undivided attention, undeviated attention. And to get ready for that, one must have had control over the senses and the mind, and being equal-minded in all situations and serving everybody with joy and compassion. These are the prerequisites for meditating upon the formless nature of the Lord. And there are certain hardships that are there in this as well, because as per our identification, so is our perception of the world. So also our thoughts that arise in our mind. And also we find that our judgments about others, about situations are decided by how we identify with ourselves, as well as the prayers and the daily activities. All are decided by our identification. So if we have identified with our physical personality very strongly, it is very hard to contemplate upon the Lord without form. So therefore Krishna suggests that take up to particular form of God, because devotion is not a practice, it is a love in action. He suggests that to think of the Lord as the supporter of all your actions. Think of the Lord as the doer of all your actions. Think of Him as the giver of the results. Think of Him as also the recipient of all the actions that you do. So devotion is to decide that ultimately Godhood is your goal. So therefore, continuously emulate the qualities of the Lord whom you are worshipping, and feel His presence in all the various transactions and interactions in this world. This is what we saw in the last session. The next question that will come to our mind easily, anybody who start to think about the path of devotion, is why do I need it? And what does, if at all, if I'm practicing devotion, let us say, as it was said earlier, that devotion is not an action, it is a love in expression, loving expression. Just like a mother would engage in taking care of the child, and if she is really so loving to that child, she would not consider all those things that she does for the child as an activity, a chore, but more as a expression of her love in various ways. So if at all I decide to walk the path of devotion, I would like to know what it would amount to me. What is it for me? It's always the question that we ask. What is it for me? So any intelligent individual will ask that. But if you really think about it, love itself is an answer. The expression of love itself is an answer. It is not necessarily that it has to lead you to something. But anyway, if the question is raised, first thing is we have to recognize that the life that we have as a human, as a living being in this world, that life is infested with constant change and insecurity. And we just cannot avoid that. Around us, there are many changes that are taking place, as well as within us. Our body is changing, our moods are changing, our priorities change, which we have discussed earlier also. And there is a constant insecurity. As Bhagavan Krishna would say, Mrityu Samsar. And it is a sagar. Sagara means a vast ocean. Just like the ocean, the depth is not known, the width and breadth is not known. So also, the life that we lead, where did we begin and where did we end? How long is our life? How many births? How many things that we did in the past that are coming to fruition now? How many things that we do now which will lead to how many lives? And what are the things around us that are going to affect whatever we do? How happy we will be even tomorrow, whether we will be happy or not, we are not sure. We are depending upon things that happen to us to make ourselves peaceful, joyful, or whatever. So as we grow, physically old also, there are so many uncertainties about the body itself, whether I would be able to maintain my health or live healthily, how long I live, so many things. And if you are involved in worldly professions like investments and money and then children and then family and so many things. So first recognize that life is infested with continuous change and insecurity. And secondly, that you realize that you cannot avoid changes. You must embrace it with some amount of inner strength. It is like any challenge that comes to our life, we need to have our own inner strength to meet that. Olympic competition that is going to take place maybe in 5 years' time, but the participants will have to start practicing even 10 years before that. Every day, it is not even one single day they can spare, because every day counts. In the same way, our inner strength has to be built up continuously for meeting daily challenges that may arise. So we cannot avoid but keep ourselves abreast. So inner strength has to be built. So first one is recognize that there is a constant change. Secondly, I cannot avoid those changes, for which I have to get ready, for which I need to have enough of inner strength. Having realized that, thirdly, the inner strength is only when you anchor yourself with what is constant and permanent. You cannot depend upon something which is temporary, evanescent, transient, changing. And often we find people are happy saying that, oh, I have money, I have wealth, I have shares, I have people. These are all subject to constant change again. So inner strength cannot be built on that which is not itself independent. As you know, the stock market goes up and down based upon some policies of the government or some situations that are happening outside in this world. So your money is only in paper. You don't have it in your hand. Your worth, self-worth is not decided by how much you possess, but what you have as your own, which is independent. So a person of inner strength is a one who is unaffected by the external changes. So we have to anchor ourselves in something which is strong, which is stronger than us. And we don't find anything in this world which is stronger, which is everlasting, which is forever. So therefore, we have recognized devotion is that which brings this anchoring within, which is making us able to hold on to something which will lead us, which will guide us, which will be with us for a longer period of time, if not forever. So that is the most important aspect of the devotion. So faith in God is the anchor for a devotee. So Lord Krishna says, if you have that implicit faith in me, a total dependence on me, total abidance in me, who is eternally true, then he declares, I will uplift you from this ocean of constant change. I will take care of the changes that take place and give you enough strength to face it as well. So mrityu samsara sagarad achirat uddharta bhavami. I shall become the uplifter of you. It is like when you are in the middle of the ocean and you are stuck, your boat has capsized or ship has wrecked, and you are in the middle of that, and then you have nothing else. and you find a small little wood floating around, you hold on to it, because that will help you for at least to keep afloat. And I read a story also. It's interesting. One person who was going in a sailing boat, and then he got capsized because of the wind and the heavy storm there. So he was thrown here and there. Finally, he reached an island. There was no human beings, and so he was all by himself. It's a small island, thick forest. And then he did not know what to do. He cried for some time, cried for help. There was no way he could do anything. There was no in the vicinity. There were no ships coming in that side. So for a few days he cried, and then he couldn't sustain himself. He was losing strength. So he started to adjust himself to live there in that island. Went around into the forest, and then equipped himself with some bow and arrow, hunted down some few animals, and then started to cook them with the little fire that he had created. And then he built a small hut for himself, a moderate one, for him to protect himself from the rain and the shine. And he was living there for some time. Weeks passed by, and one day when he went out for hunting, when he came back, he found that his entire hut was burning due to some kind of friction, or maybe some kind of lightning that happened. The whole hut was blazing fire. He sat down, collapsed, saying that, "Oh Lord, this is the only thing I have, and now I have to build again. Oh Lord, what do I do? You are just punishing me." As he was crying, suddenly he found a ship coming by that side, stopping at his shores, and then few people got out of it and then came to him and said, "Yes, we are here to rescue you." So the man said, "All this while you didn't see me, how suddenly you discovered me in this island?" They said, "Because we saw a huge flame of fire coming out island, then we know that there is a human being there, must be stranded, so we came." The man, he did not know whether to cry or laugh, but he only prayed to the Lord, "Oh Lord, I am showing my gratitude to you right now because you are infinitely compassionate. Because if that hut had not burnt so blazingly, no, the ship would not have noticed. And what you did was not a calamity, it's a great help." So, it may be just a story, but what I'm trying to convey here is, when we have a strength of faith in the Lord, and consistently if we keep it, then we will find that many situations in our life, we find a solution coming suddenly from somewhere, and you will be able to overcome the challenges. And that inner strength, that implicit faith, is what most of us lack. We just give up so easily. Only if we have that enormous anchor of strength, of faith in Lord, then, yes, as Bhagavan Krishna here declares, "I will uplift you from this ocean of constant change." So, what do we mean by this implicit faith? What do we need to do to anchor ourselves in the Lord? Bhagavan Krishna says, "Mayyeva mana adatsva, mayi buddhim niveshaya, nivasishyasi mayyeva, adavurdvam na samshaya." Have no doubt, Arjun, if you give your mind to me along with your intellect, you will be with me forever. I will assure you, I have no doubt. Give yourself to me. All right. So what do we mean by giving ourselves to Him? What did the great saints and sages do to dedicate their life to the Lord? What does it mean? So here it is. The first thing is, give your mind to the Lord. What do we mean by giving my mind to the Lord? Is it that an object, mind is not an object that I can give it to you? It's not a thing which I own, which I can give it to you. So what is mind? As Gurudev had put it, mind is a continuous flow of thoughts. So now we understand that flow of thoughts is the mind. So how can I give the thought to the Lord? Is it a thing, an object? No. What do we mean by giving our thoughts to the Lord? Now you see, first of all, we must understand our mind, which is nothing but thought, is not our own, even today, even now. We can't even decide what thoughts should arise in our own mind. We have no idea what we would be thinking in 5 minutes from now. We will be thinking about things that are happening to us continuously, and what will happen to us also at any given point of time is not decided by us. So our mind is so fickle. It is definition that is given in Vedanta is Sankalpa Vikalpatmakam Manaha, meaning it thinks about one thing at one time and next moment it doubts it. We want to do something and the next moment we say, should we? We plan something to do and then after some time we go back on our own plan. He said, no, that doesn't work. Such is the fickleness of the mind. So mind is by nature unpredictable. Thoughts are unpredictable. So with this unpredictable mind, how do I will be able to continuously think about the Lord? How do I anchor myself? So devotion is to become more mindful about the constant presence of God in whatever you do. And that will be the method of to overcome its fickleness. As I said, if there is anything that we want to continuously do, there must be holding on to something constant. So if the mind is so fickle and changing and continuously restless, we must shift our attention from the mind to something other than the mind. So the other than the mind, according to Vedanta, is your own awareness. A constant awareness is there because of which we are aware of the thoughts. So when you say I am angry, at 5 o'clock I got angry, that means 4:55 you are not angry. I got angry. When? When I saw this person or when she said something. So before she said so, before the time when you heard her say so, what were you? I was not angry. Then I became angry. That very clearly shows the anger came and you noticed that it coming. And after some time I got very upset and then I did this and that. And then I met my friend whom I did not meet for many years. And I met him and I had a good time in the evening. So what happened to that anger? So the anger thought was there for some time and it was replaced by something else. And so that anger thought either went away or it went on the background and it came back next day maybe. But the point is that before 5 o'clock it was not there. After 6 o'clock it is not there. That means I was aware of its absence before, I was aware of its presence later, and again I became aware of its absence. So, in Vedanta we say this is awareness. This is the one who is watching you, watching your thoughts. You, the inner you, who is watching the thoughts. So that inner you, that presence in you is the God's presence. He is constant. So the devotion is to become more mindful about this constant presence. And it is not only just in the field of thoughts, in whatever you do, in whatever action that you do. So become mindful of that. That's what Krishna says. Become mindful of my presence. When he says, keep your mind in me, meaning keep your awareness that I am always present there. And with the help of the intellect only you can do, because intellectual conviction is necessary as a means to drag the mind out of its emotional attachments. It is like a background score in a symphony. In a musical performance, there is a background music that is going on. The music going on, there is a certain background constant one which is bass. The base is necessary. In a Carnatic or in a Hindustani music, you will see a person with a tambura who's sitting behind and giving a shruti. Based upon the shruti only the singer will be able to sing. So he tunes, all the people in that orchestra must tune to a same shruti. Then only the symphony will be at least bearable. So in the same way, if we are able to maintain our constant attention on the constant presence of the Lord, then our actions will become more stable. And this recognition of the constant presence will create the conviction in your intellect. This intellectual conviction is necessary whenever the mind is going here and there. You can just pull it back to the tune. Just like an orchestra, the individual artists, they are all keeping their ears tuned to that shruti, and then they play their own instrument. So also we must keep the constant presence of the Lord in our awareness, understanding, while operating in this world. So this is what we mean by Mayi Buddhim Niveshaya. Then if you do that, Lord Krishna assures, if you do so, you will stay with me without a doubt. That very inner tune, the shruti, the background, that awareness, which is my presence, you will be able to come back to me at any time. It is like, most of us like to sleep on a Sunday when you are when you don't have any agenda in the morning. Why do you like to sleep for an extended period of time on a day like Sunday? It's because you don't have an agenda. Or if at all you have anything to do, you can do it later. There's no hurry. So just like in the state of sleep where we have a quiet mind, peaceful mind, joyful mind, relaxed mind, in the same way a devotee keeps his mind relaxed in the presence of the Lord, in the awareness of the Lord. And therefore, when he works in this world, he has certain charm about it, peace about it, smile about it, happiness about it. He's not dragged here and there because he knows I can get back to the Lord anytime I want. I can go and tune myself to the Lord again anytime I want. So such an individual, therefore, will remain in that awareness all the time. That's what Krishna says. Tune yourself to me and then you will stay with me. There is no doubt about that. Now the interesting thing is, Krishna is such a patient teacher that when Arjuna was given this suggestion, keep your mind in me, keep your intellect in me, both integrated together, you will reside in me. Arjun's mind was that, keeping my mind in you, etc., is, it's a process which I am not familiar with. I am a man of action. I fight the wars. I am continuously engaged in battlefield. I am of a person of rajas, extroverted activity. Because keeping the mind in the Lord, etc., it is understandable, but then I am not used to it. See, anything that we are doing for the first time, it will be difficult only. And devotion is no exception to it. So, obviously, Arjun had this question that if I find it difficult to keep my mind continuously in you, will I then fail to be your devotee? Krishna smiles and said, no, wait. If you are not able to keep your mind continuously in me, then you start practicing and practice it with love. You need to start practicing how to keep your mind in me. So here are the methods we should adopt to. First thing is that keeping the mind, as we saw, is a thought flow that has to continuously flow towards the Lord. And also we have seen that during the day our thoughts are variegated, going here and there. So at the beginning of every day or at the end of the day, whichever time is suitable to you, repeating beloved names of the Lord will restrain the wandering mind and give focus. So the japa, what we call it as a repetition of the Lord, is not for pleasing the Lord. Bhagavan need not be pleased. He is already happy. It is to keep our mind disciplined in one place. This we have seen earlier also, but I do not mind repeating this practice again and again because it is my own personal experience that daily practice of japa will definitely keep your mind most disciplined and focused. Because this is what we need in achieving anything in our life. In any task that you take in your mind, when you are able to fully apply your mind in that continuously, success is for sure. We are not able to keep our mind consistently on anything. It's because of the indiscipline of thinking. So japa or repetition of the name of the Lord is considered as the most powerful method of keeping your mind in one place. So Krishna says that do abhyasa, and that abhyasa or practice also should be done with love. Because when I have something which is most joyful to me in my heart, then it is not a struggle for me to keep my mind there. So a repetition of the name of the Lord, whichever be the form of the Lord which you would like to use, have that as your practice on a daily basis. Even if you do it for 10-15 minutes a day, out of 24 hours that you have at your disposal, can't you not spare 10 or 15 minutes for the Lord of your own heart? We spend endless hours in front of the mirrors, endless time we spend in the web browsing or chatting or watching TV or anything else. For the one who is constantly present within us, can't you spend just 10-15 minutes focusing on him? You can, you must. If that is a little difficult, then obviously the more powerful powerful method that can keep your mind in the Lord is have a date with God. So to say, date with God, meaning fix your time, place and a method of sitting with the Lord. This may consume more time actually, but if you are able to sit for japa, no doubt it is good, but don't do the japa or repetition of the Lord while doing something else. So it has to be made an exclusive engagement. So to make it as an exclusive engagement, you must know how to sit quietly with the Lord. So puja is a precursor for japa. And if you can do japa directly, it is okay. But if you can't, then sit. It's like you are sitting with the TV, watching it, or sitting with your computer. It's called computer upasana or TV upasana instead of Bhagavat upasana. So sitting there, and even you do few things, few steps, like lighting the lamp, lighting the agarbatti, offering water, giving flower, chant few names, and then sing some praise. That's all. Even if you are not able to do 5-6 minutes in a day, then you will develop that relationship with the Lord. With that, you can proceed on with chanting the names. So this is another method which can help you to keep your mind in one place and at least remember the Lord on a daily basis, knowing that He is present in me, in my life. He is part of my life. He is not far away somewhere sitting up in the heaven. He is within me, watching me, being me, with me, and constantly accompanying what I am doing. So that feeling will develop. If you find it difficult to do that, then, or if you think that you need some procedure which you don't know, many people are not aware of how to do the puja, alright, then chanting inspiring prayers from the scriptures and reflecting on them at early hours of the day in solitude will also quieten the mind, will also make the mind available to the Lord. So this requires not a great amount of effort, but this also is a practice, abhyasa, where you can take up some prayers which you already know with the meaning and sit down quietly in a place in solitude where you are not disturbed. Chant those prayers. Just think about the meaning. Like, for example, it is prescribed in our Vedantic meditation. Pratasmarami hriti samspuratatma tattvam Satchitsukam paramahamsa gatim turiyam Yad swapna jagara sushuptim avaiti nityam Tad brahma nishkalamaham nacha bhuta sangaha. At the early morning, pratasmarami hridi, in my own heart, puratatma tattvam, that which is present in my heart as my own self, which is Satchitsukam, of the nature of existence, consciousness plus bliss, Paramahamsa gatim turiyam, which is the path led being walked by the men of great knowledge, saintly people. Yat swapna jagara sushuptim avaiti nityam, that which is witnessing my three states of experiences, namely waking, dream, and deep sleep. Tad Brahma Nishkalamaham, that partless, whole, complete Brahman I am. Nacha Bhuta Sangaha, not this physical body and its components. Just remember this verse and then think about it. This reflection will help you stay anchored on the inner awareness, which is presence of the Lord. So it is not too difficult even to, one particular verse you take up and think about it, and then once you have done that, maybe after some time, few days later, take up another one and chant and reflect upon that. This way you have a schedule of prayer and reflection. This will also help you to keep your mind consistently with the Lord. So that is called abhyasa, that is practice, and that should be done not mechanically, with love, with continuous remembrance of the Lord as part of you. Some of you say, oh, Swamiji, yes, I wish I could do that. Or, Swamiji, I am so young, I do not have much time for all these things. I am very active in this world and I do not have time to sit and do any japa, repetition of the name of the Lord, or to do any puja. Obviously, I am not even familiar with that. I am not initiated to do puja. I do not know the steps. I don't have the flowers and other things. I am living in an apartment and I don't have the facility to do all those things. And I am actually I am with my roommates who may not like this. I am in a hostel where others will make fun of me if I do this. So I don't have that. Or, I don't have a time of solitude where I can, do the prayers and reflection. I don't have this. See, this is the case with most people who are not acquainted with the procedures or the methods. And many of you, maybe youth who are far away from your home, where your parents might have been doing this and you have seen them doing it, but you don't have that inspiration to do that. You don't have that feeling for that. So then, how do you practice devotion then? Krishna, as I said, is such a patient teacher. He says, if you are not able to do that practice also of remembering me, then you do one thing. Work for me. You please work for me. What does it mean? See, working for me means become my agent in this world. Think of you as agent of the Lord, not anymore agent of your boss. See, like even if a person who is working for a particular organization and he goes out as a salesperson or marketing person, he goes and meets with the customers, he doesn't meet the customer as an individual. He meets the customer as a representative of the company only. Is it not? So therefore, if you understand that I am here in this world as God's agent, I am representing Him, not any individual, not any organization, not any particular group of people, not a community, not a religion, not a language. So, if you remember that, I am directly the agent of the Lord, how much of strength you will get? Think about it. So, when you start representing God in this world, your perception, your purpose, and the way of life will undergo a dramatic change. I have no doubt about that. Because then you are representing the most powerful, all knowing, all present Lord of the universe. Then what fear you will have? What you cannot accomplish? Think about Hanumanji. See, Hanumanji was just a minister of Sugriva until he met Sri Ram. When he became his sevak, servant, his accomplishments became unparalleled. He could go crossing the ocean, reaching the abode of Ravan, who is at that time known as the tyrant, and who cannot be defeated by anybody in this world. He had conquered all the devatas, he conquered the nature, he conquered the animals, and he conquered the heaven. Everywhere his rulership was there. Nobody could do anything. Everybody was afraid of him. But when Hanumanji, a small little monkey, representing the Lord, he went there, shook him there. He said, who am I? Do you think I am an ordinary monkey here? I am representing the God of the universe. You can't do a thing to me because behind me is the Lord. So he became such a powerful sevak or servant of the Lord. Even Rama was very amazed by him. He said that, oh, I never had thought of this, that my sevak representing me could be so powerful. Think about Hanumanji before he met Ram and after he became a servant. His feats are praised all over by the devatas and rakshasas, everybody. What cannot be humanly accomplished, he could accomplish it. That is the nature of Ram. And I'm sorry, that's the nature of Hanumanji. Now, closer to home, Balakrishna Menon was just one among the thousands of journalists until he became the unique Swami Chinmayananda. He transformed the world. He transformed the world of spirituality by sharing his insights into YuvaGita, the man-making science. He became the spokesperson of YuvaGita. In fact, I was there in Calcutta when Swami Chinmayananda passed away, and he took Samadhi, and the Herald, I think it's, some other magazine, it was National Herald, I think, some other, no, not National Herald. The main newspaper in Calcutta carried the headline, "The foot soldier of Gita passed away." He carried the message to nook and corner of the world. Earlier, before he became Swami Chinmayananda, what was he? He was just a journalist working for a particular magazine, newspaper. But when he took in his hand, I represent the Lord, his message to the world I will go and propagate, he became the most powerful speaker at the times. Thousands of people who would come every evening to listen to him. And that is because he had dedicated his life to represent the Lord, his message. See the dramatic change that brought into his life. He was brought to a different stage of life. The whole world recognized him. The whole world praised him for what he was doing. That is the power of working for God. So Krishna says, if you are not able to do the abhyasa practice, abhyasepya samarthosi matkarma paramo bhava madartam abhikarmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. If you are doing the work for me, any work for that matter, representing me, you do it, you will accomplish great heights, no doubt about that. Now Krishna says, even if that is not possible for you, Arjun, what? Not to engage as my agent in this world, oh Arjun. See how much patience Bhagavan has. First of all, he said that you keep your mind and intellect in me, then thereafter you will be with me, no doubt. If you are not able to do that practice, then do that, then make it as a practice. Do japa, remember the name of the Lord constantly. Or you can do the ritual puja where you can sit with me, thinking about me. Or if you can't do that, if you are able to sit and do the prayer and reflect upon the meaning related to me, that is also not possible. All right. Then go out into the world and do work for me, meaning represent me, be my agent, and you can accomplish great things by just being aware that I am agent of the Lord, I am servant of the Lord. Even that is not possible. All right. Then you do one thing. Just do what you're doing and let go of it. Karma phala tyag karo. He comes down to so many steps down and says, some way or the other, connect everything to me. So do and let go. So he says that you don't need to do anything special for me, even if you are not my representative. All right. You are busy with your own profession and whatever you are doing. All right, do it. But avoid anxieties while working by not worrying about the result. See, every action, the support and substratum of that action is you, is it not? Without you, action can take place. So any action you do, you are the person who is doing the action. And who are you? Physically, who are you? I am a composite of my body, my senses, my hands, legs, speech, everything, my knowledge. Understand, all these things are what makes you, you. And this was given to you. Your parents gave you your body, your teachers gave you knowledge, and the external air that is there, and water and earth and fire and air, sun, moon, all these things are sustaining your own physical body continuously. The food that you eat is coming from world outside. So you realize that the entire world is supporting me to be me, for me to engage in this world. Therefore, anything that I do in this world, I should plan all right, very well. I should plan. After having planned very well, what I should be doing is to execute it to the best possible way. Without having my mind preoccupied, what will happen, what will happen, what will happen, what will happen. Just do the best you can. Don't worry about the result. If you have planned well, everything will be fine. But there are many parameters that are there which are working on the result. Then focus on the work, needed skill and energy to complete. Every action that we need, it requires certain amount of skill, certain amount of dedication, certain amount of energy to complete. Focus on those things. And secondly, after doing your best, leave the result to happen. It is like, somebody asked this question. What makes a balloon fly on the sky? You know what it is? Letting go. If you don't let go the balloon and you keep it in your hand, will it fly ever? The ability of that balloon to fly above is decided by how much you are able to let go. Once you let go, it is on its own. So also, when you do your best in this world, just as we eat and let the digestion happen, allow the parameters governing the result to act on. So once you completed your work, do not sit and worry about it. Do not sit and cry about it. Do not become anxious. So while doing the work also, you should avoid anxiety. After completing the work also, you should allow the thing to happen. Just like when you eat, after eating, will you sit and worry about whether I would digest the food at all or not? You don't. Why? Because once it is done, you know it will happen. So that is how an individual, a devotee, should engage in this world worry-free, doing the best and leaving the rest. Then when the result come to you, upon receiving the result of your actions, offer it to the Lord and take it as a prasad. Do not think that is you alone is the cause for that result. You are only a part of the whole process. It is like I take a seed from a marketplace and then I put it inside the earth and water it and expose it to the sun, etc. So that much work I did. But I am not plugging each leaves to make the whole tree grow. The tree doesn't grow because I keep on plugging the leaves. No, no, no. Or pulling the branch, each branch. No. It happens on its own. And it has its own plan of doing it. It will take its own time. I cannot decide that, how far and how quickly it should grow. In the same way, when the results come to you, it is His grace, it is His prasad, it is His blessing, it is His love, it is God's compassion. Whether it is favorable or unfavorable, don't worry about that. Just like when you go to a temple and they give a prasad, whatever comes to your hand is your prasad. In the same way, take the result as His own blessings, and if you are not satisfied with that, okay, do better next time. If you are satisfied with that, thank the Lord and move on. So Krishna says, do that. When you do that, you gain infinite amount of peace in your mind. That anxiety-free, worry-free mind is a devotee's mind. A joyful devotee, a loving devotee knows God takes care of it. Bhagavan will take care of what needs to be done. Thy will be done, thy will be done, not mine. With this attitude, an individual can definitely, lead a grateful, joyful, purposeful, useful life. And that such a devotee is one who is most dear to the Lord. It is not just showing the arati, going to various pilgrimages and then fasting and feasting, and then these are all very, these are all culture. They are not religion. This is culture. What dress you wear for Diwali, what dandiya dance, where you go and how much you dance and how much of donation you give, which are all the pilgrimage places you went, or what kind of food you prepare. These are all part of culture. Religion doesn't dictate you all these things. A true religion does not dictate a devotee. True religion embraces a devotee with his or her emotions, love, and feelings for the Lord. That's what the saints teach. Saints don't teach you to just to do an elaborate ritual and various food and items. Those are all necessary for making the community come together as a culture. A true religion lies in the heart of a devotee, in the teachings of the saints, in the directions of the scriptures. So let us understand that and accordingly practice love for the Lord.